city of architecture, but not only by the past, but too by the contemporary architecture. We have the work in Santiago of Peter Eisenman, Grassi, Álvaro Siza, a lot of the best architects of the world.
Say that it's very nice to come back to this course, which is now in its third investigation, organized by Carlos and his colleagues, which uses in a very intelligent way the extremely dense context of Santiago de Compostela, and not just the city but the landscape, to encourage a reflection on certain fundamentals of architecture and even of landscape. But for me personally, to come back here, I am an old friend of Santiago. I remember my first arrival here in 1990 as part of the Congresso on Institutional Architecture, when we were reflecting on the future of Santiago. Actually, that's the way it is. in the evening in October, it vibrates. It's an extraordinary effect. But of course, I'm interested in this as a pictorial phenomenon projected out again into real space. Now, in Japanese landscape design, as I'm sure you're aware, you have the concept of a borrowed landscape, which means you establish a microcosm, a foreground with sand or other elements, and you block, by either having this high or with a hedge or a barrier, what's here, to trap what's in the distance and pull it in by analogy with what's in the foreground. So you have an artificial landscape and the real landscape, and you make a kind of vibration between the two. Now, Le Corbusier does this all the time. He does it on the roof terrace in Marseille with this little artificial landscape in the foreground. The parapet is kept very high, so you have the feeling of the rocks.
Virtue of condensation and simplicity in artistic expression. Rainer Maria Rilke's poetry and his novel, the only novel he ever wrote.
But I followed the lectures, and my feeling is that I'm learning a lot, also from the students and from the critiques, the wonderful critiques I followed, yes, with Antonio. So it's a cultural shock for me because it's my first time in Santiago, and I do feel, in a way, you might say, displaced. Also, I must thank the students because I'm trying to learn a few words for them. Session, or this theme of architecture at full scale, scale 1-to-1. Échelle grandeur, as one says in French. Well, this is a flagpole. It's on tracing paper. It was meant to be at the mast of the Nestlé Pavilion at the World Fair in Paris 1937. It's quite an impressive drawing when you see the original, because it measures something like 2 meters. Txumi's father was a cabinet maker. He was producing furniture, and this is one of the reasons why his son, who worked with his father, was accustomed himself to work in full scale, because scale 1-to-1 is the usual scale used when you are a carpenter and want to build a stool, a chair, an armchair.
started in 1993 and finished in the autumn.
This kind of